Before I get into the main topic of this video, just quickly, what I forgot to say last time about interest rates and interest rates supposedly helping house prices drop by 10% in 2030 as per the CBA, Commonwealth Bank of Australia prediction. Obviously, the governments are so indebted that they probably couldn't afford that the Reserve Bank of Australia and all the central banks around the world raise interest rates at all. Maybe just very little. We know that New Zealand central bank actually raised by 0.25%, which is in the whole scheme of things not a small hike, but I don't think they'll be able to do anything substantial again because of the indebtedness of the governments, meaning that they won't even be able to service that debt. And now back to the topic of this video, though. I saw somebody comment that they're hoping that the property price will drop by 40%. Now, what is the actual scenario of property prices dropping 40%? Is that, you know how they say, be careful what you wish for, and this is always so true, that what could happen in this world, in this country, Western world, stable, sovereign countries, supposedly democratic, as democratic as they get, right? Should we compare ourselves to some other countries that are not what we are? In any case, you probably know what I'm talking about, what the governments are doing at the moment. But what could happen for the property prices to drop down 40% or to drop down by 80% like they did, I think, towards the end of 1800s? They dropped like 80-90%. The farms were being given away. Now, what calamity could happen? I mean, we know that the news has come out of the new strain, all I'm going to say, and whether that will be the thing that is actually making people leave this world, let's put it that way, or something else that they're administering to people. I mean, it's all open, it's all out there. And if you were able to buy property for today's prices minus 40% or more, the situation would have to be really bad. You'd have people dropping for whatever reason, or something extra bad on a biblical scale happening. So let's be careful what we wish for. Another thing I wanted to talk about is this article that my friend sent me. Sydney home buyers face a record 16 years to save a deposit. This is AFR.com article. He sent it to me. This friend of mine lives in London, and he still follows news here as if he lives here because he thinks he wants to come back. I hope for him that he does, or pray for him that whatever he wants to do actually happens to him. But this is what the article actually says. The time it takes to save a house deposit has blown out to a record 10.8 years Australia-wide as prices increase at a rate of 8.1% faster than household income. The ANZ CoreLogic Housing Affordability Report shows. Home buyers on an average income now need to use 39.3% of their household income to service a new mortgage after house prices rose 24.2% nationwide over the past year. That's insane. Home buyers in Sydney are now taking 16.6 years to save a 20% deposit to buy a house. Wow, 16.6 years to save only 20% to buy a house. That means they need to get 80% mortgage and need to pay it off with interest. I mean, this is a multi-generational effort, I think, at the moment. Back to the article. So taking 16.6 years to save 20% deposit to buy a house, also a record following a 30.4% rise in price over the past 12 months. New house owners then need to spend 60.4% of their household income to repay their mortgage, which is also a record high. First home buyers in Melbourne were no better off. With house values rising 10.5% faster than income, house buyers need to spend more than half, so 50.8% of their household income to service their new home loan. Let's see if there's anything else good at this article. It will take buyers 14 years to save the 20% deposit, but first home buyers Brienne, Cog and Angus Mills are not waiting. Determined to break into housing market sooner rather than later, the couple took drastic steps to come up with deposit and compromised on the location and type of property they were after, of course. Unfortunately, that's what people do. We had to make a lot of sacrifice, including moving back home with my parents and foregoing holidays and going out on weekend to save faster. It's actually sad. Mr. Mills said, we wanted to buy closer to the city and get an existing home that can be that we can renovate, but that would have taken up so much longer to save the deposit, and we're not prepared to wait. We've decided to buy a house and land package in Doreen in Melbourne's outer ring. It took us more than 3 years of fiercely cutting down on expenses to save the 5% deposit we needed. Oh, gee, that's pretty bad. ANZ economist Felicity Emmett said the pandemic and some government housing policies had exacerbated the situation. We're now in a situation where the gap between those who've already achieved home ownership and those who haven't has really widened. And I think for many people, they will never be able to bridge the gap, Miss Emmett said. This is actually pretty bad, and this probably means that it's going to revert back to the mean of the price. So that 40% is probably nicely dovetailing into a possible outcome, but again, something really bad needs to happen. I know that everyone thinks it'll be the rising interest rates, which could maybe contribute to 10 or 20 say percent to it, but to fall another further 10, 20, 30% to maybe total a 40 or 60% drop. I mean, this is